The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WACK 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron 868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. on WACK 90.1 FM. The Living Room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is currently 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked onto the True Nation station, WACK 90.1 FM, where we are
culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do, all right? Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, the Tainos and the Kalinagos, because we all know, accept, reiterate, say it with our chest, that Columbus lied, but also to our brother in music, Tony Prescott, where the P this week stands for
performance by, or should I have said play? Or should I say play? But I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Production, maybe.
Production is what you're not getting from the Lakers or the Celtics.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Well, lopsided conference finals this year. Everything else was running fine, and that just got real lopsided.
Yeah. Hi, Ingrid.
Oh, burn. Terrible.
Guys, if you did not know, this is The Living Room with yours truly, DJ Aaron 868. I remind you that culture is my code, alongside my Burbo with no fro, but a lot of flow.
Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage and the global stage.
It's The Living Room. We have anything to wipe our feet on, or?
There was something I wanted to wipe my feet on, I saw it. I think it was one of the councils were doing a horrible job with the garbage collection. I saw a guy make a post that went a bit viral. I want to wipe my feet on so many things, but in the little time that we have today, I want to hang my hat, Aaron. I want to hang my hat on the Irie Theatre production of Samuel Selvon's A Brighter Sun. I went to Naprima Bowl this weekend. It was a fantastic.
I didn't call him out.
No, it was a fantastic production. I had a great time, and I definitely want to dedicate a little more time to speaking about that, because there were issues that were raised in this book that was written 70 years ago or thereabouts, that's still startlingly relevant to our society today. Right? But I want to be able to dedicate some time to that, probably in one X Culture episode. But trust me, it has some stuff to unpack in that, man. It was fantastic stuff.
So you went with your better friends? That's what you're trying to say?
Yes, I did. I went to the friends and them who, like drop food for me when it's not my birthday, and they don't post pictures of all the fantastic events that they're going to, and the only reason that I know that I went is because I was following them on Instagram. Yeah, Aaron. Yeah, I see you well posing off in point and on boat and all kind of fancy thing, and then talk about leaving you out one place I go, one place, So let's make this relationship thing real hard, boy. Real hard. You see what I did there? I planted the seeds for today's topic.
Before we go, I really want to hang my hat really quickly on the Tuna Puna Piaka Regional Corporation, and specifically the Councillor Kwesi Robinson for the work that he has been doing to bring light to the Tuna Puna market. I feel like I could go to that market now. That is the excellent job that they have been doing.
There's not a market. There's a market.
A market.
A market.
A market. Also, I wanna, there's not hang hat or wipe foot or anything. to the listeners again who tune in for the past 2 Mondays to Kenny and I clash, it was really an honor, as much peacock as has given, to clash a man with so much experience, so much knowledge, and according to some of the callers, go toe to toe with him. The only thing they say that he beat me up in without question was the anomaly thing, which is what I knew was going to happen.
Yeah. So you win where you could have win.
I win where I could have win, and I challenge everywhere except anomalies. Because again, we really have a wealth of knowledge, and I think it's something that we need to talk more about. The fact that big international artists came here and sang our music. Because they know that's how they had to reach us. They sang our music. So we should treasure our music more. Right? With that being said, today we're just going to bring Vorish in to do their musical introduction. And when we come back after the introduction, which Ricardo and I will never sing again, we will introduce our guest to you. So Vorish, take it away. And we are back after that lovely musical interlude from Vorish, after Ricardo and I botched it a couple, like sometime last month, and we vowed never, ever, ever, ever to sing it again.
I'm very happy about that.
You vowed. I'm not a quitter, Aaron. I am not a quitter. I'll try it again and I'll get it right. But that's beside the point.
You will try it by yourself, all parts then. I would not be botching another attempt, because that's something that actually made me anxious hearing it. Every time I hear it, I just remember that word.
I would like to hear that botched version.
No. You can go back on YouTube on DJ Aaron 868 SoundCloud. We will probably put the episode somewhere on the screen now if you don't know which one you're looking for, and go and watch it there, because we're not playing it again here.
J'elle, I editing this thing and I am going to put it in. You don't worry yourself.
Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room.
You're safe. But Aaron, I didn't peg you as somebody who's in entertainment and the arts and such, a former choral speaker, and so on and so forth, that you would have performance anxiety.
Surprisingly, most events when I go to play or stuff like that, just before I actually hit the play button or introduce myself on the mic, I tend to feel a bit nervous still.
Well, clearly, because look, you didn't even introduce our guest.
This guest needs no introduction, honestly, because she is a fixture to the living room. She has been with us on numerous occasions before, and she resides upstairs in one of our bedrooms, so much so that she created her own entrance to her room that is now called Chit Chat with 2 T's. That recently launched its 3rd season last Friday with DJ Charlotte. So no stranger again, Miss J'elle Angela Maria Valdez.
My middle name isn't Angela, everybody.
Wait. Your initials spelled Jamvi?
No, Angela. He's from Power. She was Angela Valdez. So a lot of people started calling me Angela.
Alright.
At Hussy.
J'elle Angela Maria.
No, Maria Angela.
Oh, this is JME. I thought it was JAM.
There's no A in the fine. No A exists in the middle there, but that's all right. No problem.
No, just like how Kenny is Kennedy or Kenrick or Kensbooth, Kenswick, Kendison, whatever key name it used to call him.
I like it.
J'elle also has Angela inside there.
Noted
with thanks. Hi guys, thanks for having me again. Always good to be here. Just raise my anxiety and pressure levels by a little bit whenever I have to come here, but I'm grateful.
Really, we are such accommodating hosts, so I don't understand why.
Jill, you don't spend half of your life in interviews and having conversations?
No. I really don't, guys. I really don't. But I always appreciate the fact that you all think I have things to say and share. So
Anyway, let me get out all the business. You all former colleagues as such, right?
yes,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
yes, we are.
All right. So I guess you're all well poised to speak on today's topic.
I mean, we'll see. We will see.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, as celebrated in the US of A. And the theme this year revolves around anxiety. So I think that it's a conversation that we should try to have before the end of this month, because we're not too sure what's going to happen next week. Because as Ricardo always says, the hourglass is opaque.
Mm-hmm.
And also next week, Tuesday is a holiday, so we don't know if we're going to
Right. I feel like that
Yeah.
might be exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to give me the forward over the public holiday. Appreciate it.
Right. So
Appreciate
Jill, before we get started with today's topic, we have to ask you the most important question that we will ever ask you.
Not where is he seen jelly bean? Not where is he just physicist? And what's the next one?
What's the word, hummingbird?
But how are you?
Well, right now, the back of my neck and my shoulders are really hitting me. So that is an indication that I am under some pressure. So that's the honest answer. And I'm really tired, but I guess I'm okay. Generally. It's getting to where the water is almost at neck level, but I'm doing okay. Yeah. As honest as I can get.
Yeah, we appreciate that. But I would ask you, as both a co-worker and a friend, since when OK is neck up to my neck in water?
Well, I mean, you're still
tired
breathing,
and
so that's pretty. Your head above the water, so you're doing okay and strong. So you're doing all right. Not as good as you could, obviously, if the water were at your knees. But you're doing okay.
all right.
I made an appointment to see my therapist. Unfortunately, she is very booked and I can't see her until June. But, mid-June. So it shouldn't be too bad because you're practically at the end of May. So it should be all right.
All right.
See, guys, I have a therapist. It's a thing.
Okay. Your therapist has a therapist. Very good.
That is excellent news, because all his peoples too.
So, as advertised today, we are here to talk about anxiety a little bit, right? But this is a conversation that we have had on numerous levels before. So we're going to try to take a little twist on it and put some real world scenarios in the mix.
No pressure.
No pressure whatsoever. So firstly, we just have to clarify for those who may be listening to the living room for the first time, after this has been a program on the airwaves for 4+ years, what is anxiety?
So anxiety in general is a sense of physical and mental uneasiness and nervousness, fear or worry. Those things could be classified as anxiety. And anxiety in and of itself is not a bad thing. But when the levels are way higher than they should be, then that's when it becomes problematic, right? So if you to be classified or diagnosed as having anxiety, it has to be persistent, because everybody feels anxious at some point. New job, first day of school, first date, you might be a lot. And that's fine. As a matter of fact, anxiety can also be like a built-in alarm system. Something is off. You're walking on the streets and some people describe it as their spidey sense tingling. So you feel that sense, okay, that's a little, or that area is a little bit dark and I'm not too sure what's going on, them across the room, right? That could be anxiety. Anxiety could even motivate you, right? You have an exam, it's very important. You're like, oh gosh, I really do want to fail. And that's the thing, anxiety is usually tied to, maybe a fear of some sort of failure or pleasing people, your desire to please people, right? So for SA students, they have SA coming up, CSEC, CAPE, tertiary level exams, and they don't want to fail their parents, they don't want to fail their teachers. So there's all that pressure, especially for SA, Form 1. You want to pass for your first choice. So there's anxiety with that. So it could go one of two ways. It could become debilitating, where they end up having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and they can't really function. Or it could be where they're like, okay, I really don't want to fail. I really want to do well. So I am going to study hard. Right? So, but when it becomes debilitating, and it's at extremely high levels, that's when it's problematic. It's above normal levels of functioning.
Okay.
And prevent you from functioning normally.
Okay, so I love that because it clarifies to an extent that there is good anxiety as well as bad anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the last time you were on with us and we discussed this topic, J'elle, we would have gone through, I think, was the 5 senses method, where it's what you see, what you could feel, what you could smell, feel is touch.
You can touch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, just really quickly, could you just refresh that method as well as any other really quick methods?
Sure. So it's self-explanatory. You want to ground yourself. It's a grounding technique when you feel anxious. So to bring you to the present moment and to focus on where you're at, you engage your senses in something within your environment. Right? So it's basically that. What can you see? You might want to list 5 things you can see. What are 4 things you can smell? 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can touch. 1 thing you can taste. Right? Just a little version of that. Some people have like really strong. They might have a comfort kit. That's what they call it. So you pack it with things that will engage your senses. So you might have something with a very strong taste, like a Diana Perlman. Right? So that would be the thing that you can taste. So you could focus on the sensations of that. You might have cotton balls soaked in your favorite scent, right? And you kind of have that in about, if you like lavender, you might soak that lavender oil. So when you feel stressed or you feel the anxiety with it, you might, just kind of open it up and take a little sniff of that. It might be a scent that, is calming to you. Maybe it's like your mom's favorite perfume or, like that kind of thing. So that could kind of help you to engage your senses and also relax and be in the present moment. Additionally, we have deep breathing, which is always a big one, right? So a lot of people, you could do the count method or the box method where you envision yourself as you breathe in, it's one side of the box, and you hold another side of the box, you exhale, another side of the box, you hold another side of the box, right? Or you can count. Some people count to 4, or they count 2, 4, 6, right? So you count and as you inhale, and then you hold, and then you exhale, but you're counting as you do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you might hold for 4, and you'll exhale for 4, you might hold for 4 again. So those are really good, quick techniques that you can do in the moment. I'm probably just like taking a little micro break. So you may not be able to exercise. Let's say you're at work and the anxiety might be coming up, but you might be able to walk away from your desk for a little bit. Just walk in, because exercise helps. If you're walking, you kind of get a little serotonin in. Or if you go outside, if it's a sunny day, then you can get the vitamin D, and that actually naturally boosts your mood also.
Well, at least for me, engaging the moment that I'm in, it takes away from all the possibilities of what is coming next or what could come next, or even the regret of what happened before and anticipating the fallout from it, etc. It's all right to just be, for me, the grounding techniques work a lot because they bring me back to the moment I am in.
Yes, which is what we want, because anxiety really centers a lot on what you don't know, the future, the what if. So when you're grounding yourself and you're bringing yourself to the present moment, you're bringing yourself back to what you know would actually exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was getting a sensory overload last year, and I normally have like my beads with me You know,
Right.
people think I under this monk business, but a lot of the times the beads are, you know, a textile grounding mechanism for me. Like, you know, some people would have fidget cubes or fidget spinners,
Yeah.
or, you know, always picking up something on the table and playing with it, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But for me, I had my beads and the lights were flashing and there was so much music and noise and stuff, and I was like, yo, I need to ground. And I went into the
Yeah.
bathroom and I put on the tap and I just run my hands under some water.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really about engaging your senses in the moment, in the environment you're in the moment you're in.
Yes.
And I'm glad you all brought up the grounding methods, because within the workplace, sometimes meetings are stressful, right? Be it staff meeting, department meetings, toolbox meetings on a morning, whatever the meeting may be. Sometimes the meeting may be stressful. And I'll call a spade a spade. The management generation now is of an older or elder persuasion, where mental health was not something which was talked about in their upbringing. And I'll use a personal example. There was a staff meeting some years ago where my boss at work, he was discussing something which I found to be stressful, or it made me, you know, ponder a lot on the future of the unknowns. And sometimes my coping mechanism is to doodle.
Yeah.
Or even worse, sometimes my phone would be off, but I would still be tapping the screen and drawing on the screen. And my boss found that to be extremely disrespectful, because he thought I was ignoring what he was saying. But that was my method of grounding, as we just learned. So, J'elle, the question is, how do you suggest, or what methods can someone use if their co-worker or their boss, the supervisor, whatever it may be, is one of the triggers that brings on anxious moments?
Well, there's quite a lot of articles right now out there on toxic workplaces, or toxic bosses.
You mean Trinidad?
Well, apparently it's international. Workplace anxiety has actually increased quite a lot, especially I would say maybe post-COVID. So it's not an unusual topic in that sense. And you have to spend most of your time at work. So it really is uncomfortable to be in a situation where one of your main triggers or somebody who triggers you briefly is there, but you have to deal with it. So some of the tips that we just shared, I would say those are good for managing in general. And then, of course, if it's possible to limit your interaction with the individual, you can't eliminate it, but you may be able to limit your interaction as far as humanly possible. Of course, again, within your workspace, you can't eliminate it, but you can probably try your best to reduce. And of course, one of the other things I read was learning your boss's patterns or your co-workers' patterns. So they were saying that there is they were saying there's a Norwegian saying, I think, there is no bad weather, just bad clothes. So basically, while a person's mood may change like the weather, the climate will not. So if you learn someone's personality and you learn certain trends, you can kind of get better at predicting what might come, right? So, yeah, that's basically. So once you kind of have a handle on that, you know how to respond because you've been in situations where the trend has been set, right? Where you've been able to observe about the person and you're on.
Now, there's another saying that go for luck is not see for luck.
Correct.
So I love the advice that you're giving, J'elle, but as human beings, we also have to remember to implement those things consistently. I was going to say constantly, but nobody's perfect. So you have to implement these methods consistently. So if you know Ricardo is going to be in the office today, and you know he's a man that's only operate properly after he has his morning coffee.
Correct.
Don't go and ask him for time off before the coffee.
Exactly. So things like that. And as I'm suggesting, because this is not advice, I'll be real clear, just suggestions. Everything is situational. Everything has to have a context, right? So disclaimer, because next thing you know, they go and I hear this in the living room and I try it and my boss cut me off and I lose.
No.
I really not on that.
They will say JLC.
Yeah.
That's
on the living room.
No.
The living room.
JLC.
Yeah. On the living room. On the living room. So
now she say it on WACK.
Yeah, let's remember that.
She say it on WACK.
She say it on WACK.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something else that you could do, basically just paying attention to the person and knowing when may be the best time to approach them. And of course, don't be a source of stress yourself. Right? Because sometimes we do tend to make bad situations worse, not all the time. But if you know you are in a particular code, not really the best. Do not go and antagonize the person purposely or provoke the person purposely. Right? So there's that. And also, again, if you know what this person gives, then having an expectation of them changing is probably going to stress you out. Because you have this expectation and then they don't meet it, and then you stress because you don't understand why they didn't change it. So, don't stress yourself out.
It's sad, but we're telling people that the way to manage anxiety at work or the risk of anxiety at work is to tiptoe around the people who get us anxious. You don't see that way?
You have to mind your business. Everything is not for long confrontation. And that can also
yes, Ricardo.
Some anxiety. Yeah.
And I had to learn I have to manage my manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody's saying that it's about, walking out eggshells or whatever, but at the end of the day, everybody may not be in a situation where speaking forthrightly with their managers will be received well.
Yeah.
So we have to be mindful of that. Everybody doesn't have that. Yes, you have to speak for yourself. I'm not saying don't be assertive, right? But again, everything is situational and everything is contextual. So I'm saying this, but you have to know if this is going to be A, applicable to you, or B, if it can be done within your work environment. You have to know. Right? So the first thing that you can do as best as you can is manage yourself and your environment. And sometimes doing that requires how you manage your interactions with others. Mm-hmm. So that's why one of the first things I said was limit your interactions with these people. You can't eliminate it, but if you realize it's triggering for you, then reduce, limit. So it's not always going to be a situation where you can have that forthright conversation. Sometimes it may mean something with a little bit more finesse.
Well, yes, Ricardo.
Finesse is one of my strong points.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like super tactful.
Your middle name is Ricardo F. Mitchell.
All right. You and Millie, for many times I hear people say F. Mitchell before, It makes sense. It makes sense.
Oh my God. Wasn't ready.
Oh, it's finesse. That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Really and truly, guys, for most persons coming out of a working from home environment over the past 3 years during the COVID period, then going back to have to face the actual physical presence of some persons at work is as well another attributing factor to anxiety. Because now you're going to hear Loud Lips Lisa eating and snapping her mouth so loud that the entire office knows that she's eating.
Mm-hmm. Chapping Charlie.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I never thought of that one. That was actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It is off the cough gel. This is like totally freestyling.
Very.
Suck teeth, Susan.
Not cool, Aaron. Not cool. But yeah, not just that, like even just the traffic to get to and from work. Simple things like having to put on pants for a meeting. Like people got accustomed to functioning as comfortably as possible.
The Zoom culture.
Yeah, and now we have all these interactions to navigate.
Yes. Which, actually they existed before. But, because of COVID, we kind of forgot, so we got accustomed with the new way of dealing. And now for a lot of people, even though the hybrid model was quite efficiently, for some reason, Trinidad and Tobago, we really want to see people in the brick and mortar.
I'm not going to say that, but there has been some progress. Apparently, there is a draft of the work from home policy. So we'll see when that is implemented in 2055.
It's not aware. 2055 sounds accurate.
Yeah, just around the same time when we will finally get into wind turbine energy.
They probably had like the commission a study, to find out how a feasibility study, Well, I mean, as we always investigating and inquiring and drafting, and anyway, that's another conversation. When we do have
that's actually a perfect segue into the level of anxiety that we suffer in relationships. And when I talk about relationships, I don't just talk about husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend.
Aaron, don't do that. How that is the perfect segue, Aaron.
Wait, no, let me finish now. let me finish now.
Sorry, sir. Mm-hmm.
You know, the real trauma, because it was gonna flow.
No, you perfectly segue, sir. Don't let me disrupt you.
Yeah,
right? So we are talking about the level of anxiety that is experienced in relationships, be it Aaron and the PNM, or Aaron and the government or lack thereof, husband and wife, Ricardo and the counselor for Marbella that do pick up garbage every other day that they're supposed to.
Ooh.
Right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, partners, girlfriends, like female friends or whatever it may be. Relationships exist throughout society. Right? And we already realized that the government of Trinidad and Tobago does not take mental health seriously. However, strides have been taken to ensure that there's counseling being made available for persons who may suffer, right? We talked about Fine Care TT, Ricardo. But there are platforms that are being made available by the Ministry of Community Development, Ministry of Health, for the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago to deal with mental health issues. So that is one thing being done in that relationship that is otherwise dysfunctional. However, let's get to more interpersonal relationships. If you are married or you are in a relationship or whatever it may be, how do you bring up to your partner that, I'm suffering with anxiety?
Well, communication is important. Open and honest communication. And especially if this is something that can impact you significantly, it means that most likely can impact the relationship. A lot of people think they can separate their mental health issues from their relationship, but that's not completely true. So I think just being able to speak to your partner and say, this is something that I'm struggling with, and let them know what you feel comfortable with. And as a partner, you can ask, because sometimes some people will never say, they will not bring up the fact that they have anxiety, but you could see, you're observing and you're recognizing certain things. So you can ask them, is this something that you'd like to talk about? What can I say? What can I do? What's comfortable for you? Don't necessarily expect the person to, every day be like, well, this is how I feel. But I think just knowing that the partner has provided a space where they can talk about it, if it becomes necessary, is very important, and the person can feel supported in that regard.
Believe it or not, Aaron, I like how you bring that up. I
just now wait. Repeat that one more time.
Pardon?
Say it again.
What's that?
You like how what?
This is what you do to the people airtime. So, I've over the past couple weeks start using the people on them TikTok, right? And in some posting my musings, I'm getting some very interesting feedback and commentary. And the relationship and communication topics tend to definitely resonate with people. And here what I'm telling you. Communication hard within a relationship a lot of the times because your partner might be responsible for the issue that you're having. So it's a challenge now. Imagine you in a relationship with somebody and you want to let them know, hey, I'm struggling with something. And we all know people who people tend to get defensive even if you don't tell them that you are a problem or that you are the problem. Saying that you have a problem, the defensive people generally would jump up and start a ball. So what you're saying is I have you getting on, so etc. So I understand the principle of these types of communication and such, but in terms of practice, Jill, you big in this communication dance skill. You could give us one or two lines that you could use to help us, introduce something into our conversation that could diffuse, the personalizing of the issue.
Well, as I share sometimes it's important to not start with absolute. So, if especially, know your audience, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, if the person is somebody who will be defensive, you might want to use I statements. I feel XYZ. When you say this or when you do that, as opposed to, there's always XYZ. Because from the time you come out with that, there's always, that person's defenses have gone up and they're no longer listening to you. They're listening not to understand or to hear what you're saying, but they're listening to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're ready for the back. You're ready for the rap, you're ready for the drama, right? So it is important to try to, I guess, honest in that sense, because you're starting out with how you feel. So there's openness on the other end to receive that in that regard. But if your partner is with severe anxiety as well, you definitely want to make sure you share that with them. If that's tied to anything else, then you might want to get some professional help. And sometimes that might be something that would happen. So whether it's because the anxiety is because of one partner or whether it's because the other partner doesn't quite know how to support the other partner in their anxiety, couple counseling is something that I would suggest, so that you both, because obviously somebody's anxious is going to impact the interactions in the relationship, right? So couple counseling, encouraging the anxious person to get therapy, because sometimes they're trying to manage it on their own and they can't. It's overwhelming. So encouraging that person to get therapy, validating that person's feelings, and validation is not encouragement, and validation, like what Kieran was looking for just now from the title.
Right.
It's important in any relationship, right? So you don't want a person to experience frustration or shame because they've opened up and they've become vulnerable to share what they feel with you, right? And so if you don't handle that well, that might be the last time that you see how they feel. They need to feel safe. So they're talking about something, let's say for instance, it would have been in COVID, and a lot of people had anxiety around COVID and how long it would last and the uncertainty of it all. So, I hear what you're saying. It sounds like, you're really frustrated, or it sounds like you're really concerned. You want to make room for them, validating that their feelings are okay and you can express that. It doesn't mean encouraging necessarily what it might be. So when someone tells you something and you're like, nah, that wouldn't happen, don't worry. I know the intention is good. The intention is that you want to put the person and you want to reassure. But the reality is that they know, a lot of people they know anxiety is not rooted in logic or rationale. They know that. So they don't need you to come and tell them on top of that. They want you to, they want somebody to empathize. They want somebody to feel, they want to feel heard. And they want to know that the person who's probably one of the most important people to them can do that for them. So as opposed to leaving them with that frustration and shame, you are validating how they feel. You're not agreeing with what they're saying necessarily. Sometimes you might, right? But especially if it's irrational, you just want them to know you hear what they're saying. Sorry, you want to say something?
No. So to answer what Aaron brought up, sometimes it's really just to shut up and listen. That might be in terms of, how when you present to your partner that you're struggling with something or that, sometimes as the recipient, it's just to shut up and listen.
And you want to learn. You want to learn the signs, because a lot of times if you're with somebody, you get to observe them often, and you can observe physical signs. So it might be physical symptoms. You realize they're not sleeping as much, or their appetite, their eating patterns are off. They may be complaining of a lot of headaches or muscle pain, so those could be signs of anxiety. Now, of course, you want to make sure that they go to the doctor and get that checked out to ensure it's not anything else, anything physiological. But a lot of our mental health symptoms can manifest physically. So that's something that you would definitely want to pay attention to. Or it might be situational. So for instance, maybe they were driving and they almost got into an accident, right? Or they were driving and they had a panic attack. The first time it was okay. They're driving by themselves, it was all right. But maybe it happened again. And after that, they don't want to drive anymore. Right? So you're aware now, okay, this is something that's a source of anxiety for my partner. How can I assist them? Or if they have social anxiety, after a while, they may not want to go anywhere anymore because they just can't deal with the people or, the comments or whatever reason it is. So, you start to pay attention. Or I realize every time I'm starting to invite this person out or invite this person out with a specific person or group of people, my partner doesn't want to. Since I've naturally jumped into the assumption that, oh gosh, well, you don't like my friends. The question and, see how they respond to that.
There are some things that you said that really spoke to me there, J'elle. And it's that when you need to listen to your partner, right? And you need to also acknowledge and validate how they feel. So as you said, don't say, wait, that what you talking about? That is what bothering you? No.
Yeah, bye.
Understand that everyone has their own emotions or their ways to process what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you said, you can lead with, I understand how you feel. Or sometimes you can even understand, I empathize with you, how you feel. But never express.
It sounds like.
But never express apathy in the situation.
Yeah. Don't care?
Don't do that. Because as men, it takes a lot for us to come out and say if something is bothering us. So if you come and you say, that's what bothering you, we get a second chance.
You close up.
You come back again with that kind of stupidness, there may not be a third chance.
You shut down, And it's so important. That's such a good point that you brought up because sometimes it really isn't the delivery of the message. Again, I do think a lot of Trinbagonians mean well, but it doesn't come across that way, and it could really end up causing more harm than good. So it is really important to be mindful of how you give that support. Everybody wants to feel supported, and that can help ease anxiety and stress. So just we use those techniques in counseling all the time. We call them reflections. So somebody says something and you're like, okay, so it sounds like because you want to ensure that you are actually zeroing in on emotion. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated. If you really genuinely have a hard time saying I understand, and then that might also upset the person because they might say, well, how could you understand? You don't know what I'm going through, right? So it might be safer to, I hear what you're saying. It sounds like you're frustrated. It sounds like you're sad. It sounds like you're scared about the future. Like these are the words to use. I'm hearing you say, just those types of things. So it's not an assumption that you know how they feel, but also it's an opportunity for clarification also, because you might be very powerful. It might not even be what the person is experiencing, and they're like, no, that's not what I meant. What I actually feeling is, and they can clarify for you. So it's communication is a two-way street.
No, I love how you said that. Communication is a two-way street.
I'm a pet peeve with our communication with this last round, but we can save that for another conversation.
Okay, Mr. Finesse.
Yeah. No, the thing is people talk about communication in a relationship or as being essential, but a lot of times people don't want communication, they just want to be heard. They don't want to be told anything.
Yeah.
They do get tired of this communicating thing that people talking about that they want from us. They don't want communication from us. They want to be heard, and wanting to be acknowledged is a basic human.
That's right.
Thing. I'm not demming and ussing and weeing and man and woman thing.
Yeah.
Right. What I'm saying is that people will talk about communication, but they don't want communication. They want to be acknowledged.
And that's where it comes down to personal responsibility. So yes, one part of it is you want to create that safe space for your partner. The other part is, what are your motivations, right? And are you being honest with that? And when you look back a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, would you be comfortable with how you manage the situation? Mm-hmm. So it really just comes down to you as well. There is personal responsibility in communication.
As you speak of personal responsibility, J'elle, ultimately, whose responsibility is it to manage, and I'll just expand from anxiety here, your mental health while in a relationship?
It is primarily your responsibility. I am very wary of us assigning responsibility to persons to whom it may not belong, because then there is a lack of accountability. Right? And it could escalate as far as, well, I only do this because you X, Y, or Z. Trying to reduce that. Really want to eliminate it, but humans are humans. And they're gonna human. Humans are human.
People will people.
Yeah, people will people. But that being said, again, a relationship is a partnership. So if I express to my partner that I feel some level of anxiety and about what, then I would hope that my partner wanting to create that safe space for me in the relationship, so that if I don't feel safe anyway, I feel safe there. So I would say to that degree, there would be some responsibility on your partner, right? If you know that I get anxious about you going out, right? I'm anxious about you going out because maybe I had a negative experience. And after a particular hour, I began to get really, really worried about your physical safety. Would the right thing there be for you to not go out?
For me, the right thing in that case is not about not going out, right? It's about discussing what would help alleviate your partner's anxiety within a practical manner, and maybe to a degree, a little impracticality too, because you want your partner to feel safe and you want your partner to feel comforted. So, you know what? It might be inconvenient to shoot them a little text message, a little WhatsApp, hey, I good still, I got see you in 2 hours, or yeah, baby, it's midnight, I just checking in, don't worry, we safe. It ain't taking nothing from you to do something like that. But if it's along the lines of having to pretend you're going in the bathroom so that you could actually call and check in, because the issue is not so much the anxiety about your safety, but about what else you might actually be doing, well, then we're having a conversation about the wrong thing.
A different conversation, yeah.
Right. Right. So for me, a lot of the conversation is about making sure that the measures we are trying to apply actually addressing the issue you say you're having.
Yeah.
But to address the issue, you actually need to say that you're having an issue. And
right.
be
so we come back to
truthful
communication.
About the issue, because you can't tell me, well, I just feel anxious when I go out, so send me a live location for 8 hours now. That you sorting out anxiety, that your trust issue for me.
Yes. Yes. And I agree with both of you would have actually accurately answered the question. So another thing in terms of managing anxiety within a relationship is healthy boundaries, right? Healthy boundaries. So it would be, okay, I'm still going out, but I understand. And so, maybe responding in the way that Ricardo suggested, or maybe both of you agreeing on a time that you feel comfortable with, all right, baby, I understand how you're feeling, and okay, so I think midnight is safe because you're going out. The line is 5 o'clock in the evening or 6 o'clock in the evening. Right? So you might say, all right, well, by midnight, 11 o'clock midnight, I'll be home. If it's a living situation, right? But even with a living situation, even if you're not living together, then what Ricardo said in terms of, just shooting a little message, not every 5 minutes, but, because again, I want to show you that I'm supportive of you, but I'm not going to engage unhealthy behaviors. I'm not going to encourage that, right? Or the person is at home and they are scared to be home alone for whatever reason. Maybe there's a home invasion, or maybe they're just having a really difficult time and they need that support. You're at work and they call you all the time. Right?
Right.
That might be unhealthy. You might be in a really important meeting and you cannot answer your phone. right? And then if you say, okay, yeah, you could call me anytime, like, and this person is constantly calling, but you have work to do, right? Or you might be in a meeting where you can't answer the phone, then you don't answer the phone, and then that sends them in an next spiral, right? So, okay, you can message, and I'll respond as I can, but I'm not gonna walk away every hour on the hour to speak to you on the phone, right? So healthy boundaries are really important. So while the primary responsibility, I would say, for managing your anxiety in a relationship is yours, I do think it is important to have a supportive partner who is willing to try to assist you in managing that anxiety.
Yeah. And again, remember, when we say relationships, we're not just talking about husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, right? We are also talking about relationships with your brethren and stuff like that, your friends. So
yeah, so that's going to be a slightly different event, but a lot of the same things I think would apply, right? So just in terms of creating that safe space, I've played a lot of males, speak about the reason. One of the reasons why they don't speak about mental health issues is because they don't feel safe enough to do it, right? Whether it's being perceived as soft by females or even by their friends. They don't want to talk about it because they might be made fun of, right? So I think allowing your friends to know, even if it's one, it mightn't be the group, but it might be just one person that you feel you could trust, letting that person know, listen, I'm real struggling with this, and I just need to talk about it, or I just wanted somebody to know, right? Then you provide that safety. You might be able to check in, hey, if you ever want to talk, I'm here, or let's go and have a drink after work, or let's go and, grab some lunch or something. Let me just line, and that creates this space informally for that person to talk to you about whatever's going on. So, but again, even though it's in that friendship, so it's where primarily that person has a responsibility to speak to you, but maybe they may not feel comfortable, or maybe they for themselves are trying to process what it is, or maybe they figure their masculinity would be questioned if they have to talk about it, right? But you've been observing. You're observing that they've been withdrawn. They're not really engaging as much. They're not coming out as much. If they're really into memes, they're not posting memes as much, right? Like that kind of thing. So you ask the question, hey, I realize that, yourself, is everything okay? They may not necessarily want to speak even at that point, but what you've done is you've opened the door. So they know somebody's paying attention to me, somebody cares, and if I only muster up the courage, I could go to Aaron or I could go to Ricardo because they already noticed and they're willing to talk to me. So,
as we are getting perilously close to the hour of 7 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago, that brings me back with Ricardo and J'elle to a conversation we had sometime, I think, in 2022.
Oh, my.
In May, to be specific, when we had Mr. Mali Jeremiah on from Peepsill.
Oh, very nice.
She alerted us to genuinely asking your friends, how are you? Remember that conversation, Ricardo?
Yeah. I want to ask if you good. You good, Aaron? You good?
Nah, somebody just walked in the office there.
I know, yeah. I ain't gonna like full manicu mode, You went full manicu mode, like when you catch somebody with the lights, you just freeze up,
I want to say thank you very much, J'elle, for joining us inside this week's edition of The Living Room. We know you're living upstairs, but we know that your plate is very full. You have chit chat, you have equilibre, you have the Penal, let me say it correctly, Holy Faith Convent Penal Past Students Association. Yeah, that you are actively involved in.
Hey, it's not Past Students Association, it's the Alumni Association.
My apologies.
Right.
Thank you.
But there's so much that, you are involved in, and I really want to thank you for taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule and spending this 45 or 50 minutes, however long it was, with us to talk about such a serious topic.
No problem. It is always my pleasure and my privilege to be here. So I appreciate the invitation and I look forward to the next one.
Yes, because you also actually raised something that I think we need to have a panel discussion about to an extent.
I love panel.
Yeah, where we as men, we could probably have another male join us and have some women join us inside the living room where we could discuss the fact that the terminologies that women want men that are emotionally available, that they are emotionally aware, but yet still I had to keep it straight now.
You know, I've heard about that. I can't really, right? Because my friends, the people that I've grown up with, that's another thing for us. So I don't know about that. Because I've heard men say that as well. Like, you know, women saying they want emotionally available men, or they want him to be like a thug, they want him to be gangster. And when he starts to express himself, they're saying he's soft. So I don't know. I really don't understand. I guess it's a new cultural phenomenon. Maybe it's not so new. But that would definitely be something worth exploring because
I want to hear about that. What I'm more familiar with is the reason that men don't open up is because it becomes weaponized. That is the issue.
I've heard that as well.
Also can't relate, but I've heard it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. So for different
one, and this is a doozy, and I don't know this, right? The other reason is because after we actually tell our partners how we feel, we then end up having to apologize for making our partners feel that way based on what we said, and we end up comforting the person that we were confiding in. So the reason we do bother to say anything is because how it does make the partner feel when they hear it.
I think to some extent that happens on the other side as well, I would say.
Well, I just say that this is why men do say nothing to the partner, because like when I had to speak on behalf of the so that means J'elle cannot head the panel because she is going to sit on side of the table.
Because you sit on one side, so I was to be sitting the other, but I'm very capable, and you know this, of being quite objective and neutral. So, you know, and you have to do it as, you know, especially if you're seeing couples, you know, you can't automatically side one or the other.
All right.
So it's
J'elle back at the head of the table. She get a big piece of chicken too.
Thank you, and cake.
Well, I'm going to say, according to Chris Rock, that's the only thing that men get, the big piece of chicken.
I not saying anything to that.
It was a comedy show that I watched some time ago.
I appreciate.
I read a lot of books, Ricardo.
You like it of J'elle. She was saying she appreciate being here, and you just want to jump out with your literary prowess.
I'm 100% sure Ricardo edited out the fact that he told me that I should read more books enough.
I don't have to edit it.
Right. But again, thank you very much, J'elle. Remember, if you are trying to get in contact with her, and you could check out Equilibre on Instagram and Facebook.
EquilibreTT.com.
Equilibre, that's right. And you can also find To Chat with Tuti on that website, as well as on YouTube. You can search for J'elle Valdez. And I'm also on Instagram at Equilibre_TT. So, but all my contact information is also on the website, so you can feel free to check me out there. And when next time here, whenever that will be, hopefully before 2024.
Right.
Yeah.
You see how that panel tonight.
Yeah.
Both there and some my room.
Oh gosh, I forgot I was gonna say now.
Yes, talk about the contact information.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, right. And also, if you are sliding into the DMs, remember you are sliding for business purposes only.
That's right, guys.
Right, don't worry, Jelly. Next time I'm going to see you is on June the 4th, God willing.
That's right.
Yes.
Hey, don't let us talk about all the secret line man thing on here, man. It's fine. Oh, I could come.
You could come.
You know what?
You could come.
Aunts could come too. He doesn't invite them. I get. That's cool. It's fine. Cool. It's all a private picnic or whatever it is all going on.
Private picnic. You can come. You are invited.
I don't know where it is, so I have to keep guessing.
I have tickets.
I'm not going to say J'elle and I won't be going on any private picnics.
Yeah. So, but you can kind of have tickets. So let's talk about that. But thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you having me here, and looking forward to you next time.
It was a pleasure seeing you, Jay.
Same.
Right, Ricardo, do the needful.
Well, this is yours truly, Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage, the metaphor king, also known as the analogy prince, because apparently Aaron has a problem with some of my pseudonyms. But anyway, guys, the hourglass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains, so whatever you're doing, be good and stay safe. Thanks for joining us in the living room this evening. Thank you, JL. Just want to tip my hat very, very quickly once again to that Irie Theatre production.
I wanted to miss it, but they said they'll do it again in September, so I will not miss it then.
Just saying, culture, boy. But we can talk about that next time. That is me there. So, Aaron?
This is yours truly, DJ Aaron 868. I remind you that culture is my code, as I made sure and let Kenny know for the past 2 Mondays. He's Kenny now.
Oh.
Right. I tell you as well that love is the currency, so spend some today. Let somebody know that you love them, guys. Up next is Mr. Desmond with the big band. And also you could look out this week. I'm going to be dropping the new Culture Box Kaiso 2023 mixtape. You can find that on my SoundCloud, and I had to find out how to do them videos and put them on YouTube. I'll work on that. Don't worry. So keep it locked.